Hey guys, and welcome back to the Chaos Storm. Recently, Xbox Showcase decided to bless us with the reveal of Gears of War E-Day, teasing a return to form featuring gloomy architecture, ugly locusts, and the two bestest of friends in gaming history. And when I tell you I jumped out of my seat, I really jumped, did a somersault, exploded with excitement even more when I found out it was available day one on Game Pass. So enough of that, let's jump in feet first. Jokes aside, I really do believe this was the right choice for the franchise. The new trilogy were good games on their own, however, the vibrant colors and lack of an intimidating antagonist have honestly hindered the atmosphere so much that it kind of did it a disservice. Truth be told, the gritty and desperate atmosphere is honestly the identity of Gears of War. When the Coalition kind of more or less went away from that, it kind of hindered the franchise in a serious way. And truthfully, that's probably the result of trying to continue a story that arguably tied up all of its loose ends as well. The original trilogy spanned many years, and we accompanied Marcus and Dom through important events of the Locust and Human War, but we never got to see a fully fleshed out story based on Emergence Day. And now, the Coalition have the opportunity to recapture the identity that's been missing from the franchise since Gears of War 3. So, I know what you're asking. That's it, right? The Coalition is on the right path and everything is going to be alright. Well, yes, but I wouldn't say so quickly. I mean, even if this direction is the right one for the franchise, there are a few things that must be in place to make sure this Gears is the good one. Now, first things first, of course the story must make sense, but we have barely anything to go by, so I won't spend a lot of time on that. Now, one thing I do want to drill on is collecting cog tags and other bits of lore, and I think they need to be a large part of the bonus campaign content. Making unique weapon and character skins also unlocked by collecting these as a main reward, it will give players a lot of incentive to go back and replay missions and chase achievements. I think the aspect of the campaign is Gears of War's strongest trait and offers extensive replay value. I just hope the Coalition doesn't drop the ball when it comes to this, because I do believe Gears of War does it better than most other games, and it should be going forward a priority. But that's just a drop in the bucket. The most important features we do need to talk about, however, is multiplayer. Now sit up, because this is going to be probably the most controversial part of the video, because if multiplayer sucks, it doesn't matter how good the campaign is, the game is just going to flop. Now I'm going to pick on Gears of War 5 a bit because I didn't really enjoy it as much as I wanted to. The Gnasher felt good, but the rifles for the most part never really felt great to use, even if they weren't completely useless. I am a Gears of War 3 nerd, full disclaimer, and I do believe it is the best Gears in terms of multiplayer, but I'm probably in the minority when it comes to that opinion. I know many want a Gears of War 1 or even 2 vibe when it comes to multiplayer, and while I do enjoy the variety of the new iterations, I think a great balance between both trilogies is the best choice. And before I go any further, of course, the Gnasher will be a dominant weapon in the sandbox. It's going to continue to be the primary weapon. No one's going to try and change that, or at least I don't want them to. But I do think the other weapons like the Retro Lancer, and Hammerburst have to be present within the sandbox in order for the multiplayer to be great, especially for new players. The reason why I think Gears of War 3 was the best, at least in terms of rifle gameplay, is because it punished those who recklessly rushed in with stopping power. Now, I don't think anybody liked stopping power, but I do believe it might serve a purpose in the new sandbox if implemented correctly. Now, if it were to be implemented, I would propose maybe having the Retro Lancer have more stopping power than any other weapon. The other weapons may not have as much depending on which one. The Lancer may have the best balance, of course, between all the rifles, and the Hammerburst having the least amount. And I'd be lying if I said I actually use the Hammerburst. I don't think there's anybody in the last 2 games that have actually enjoyed using the Hammerburst. It needs to go back to the original Gears of War 3 iteration, the semi-automatic fire and iron sight. I don't know if it should have a headshot multiplier, but honestly, I would like it to be a weapon that takes skill, punishing players who don't hit headshots and rewarding those who are accurate with the weapon, especially with the fast-paced gameplay. I just want these weapons to be effective secondaries. And yes, that is a joke. Everybody just uses their Gnasher, and I don't want to change that. But I do want the rifles to be viable weapons, especially when trying to incorporate new players. I think it's essential for the gameplay. And I feel like these surface level suggestions are, at least they fit thematically. Retro Lancer for close quarters, the Lancer does it all, and the Hammerburst is a accurate weapon that rewards skill. Plain and simple. And please, for the love of God, just bring back the iron sights. It's such an underrated feature, and it's just a cherry on top of the gameplay. Now, I know what a lot of you are going to say, and it will segment into my next part of the video. Well, what about the UIR rifle? You know, it kind of takes the place of the hammer burst. If I want to be honest, I hate the UIR and all their weapons. I just don't care for any of the extra fluff they put into the new trilogy. Most of the time, people aren't just going to use it, and it's been like that, at least in my experience. I do greatly believe that making the nostalgia weapons more effective in the sandbox is far more effective than trying to add extra stuff that someone may or may not use. But let me know what you think. Comment down below how the multiplayer sandbox should play. And, you know, if you're enjoying the video, please like and subscribe. I'm finally getting off my fat ass and making videos again, so hopefully we can have a discussion. And of course, I would never forget Horde mode. And honestly, a complete copy of Horde from Gears 5 with a few extra additions would really be enough. I'm not really even sure what they could do to add to the experience except for, of course, new enemies and bosses. But I do think dedicated Horde maps is the next logical evolution of the game. It's no secret that players prefer certain maps, so why not create a Horde map that's specifically made just for Horde, just so players can maybe have a better experience. And if certain players prefer multiplayer maps over the new Horde map, is given the option. There's no reason to take away choice from the player, and I believe that. I mean, regardless of what they do, they've been doing very well for the last decade or so, I'm not worried about Horde in the least bit, but just adding a couple different ideas just in case. But last and absolutely not least, we have to talk about the monetization. Look, if anybody's seen any of my last videos, first of all, you're a real one. Second, you know I complain about excessive monetization, and for a good reason. Nobody likes having to spend 20 bucks on a skin that was free 10 years ago. Yes, video games are expensive, but I propose more skins are locked behind actually achieving things rather than pulling out your wallet. Yes, I know it's almost unheard of nowadays, but I do think it is a great idea in a world where games are monetized to death. Do I believe Gears of War will be a lightly monetized game? No, I don't think they will because I asked for it, not in the slightest. But I am hoping that these developers or Microsoft won't squeeze the game before it even comes out. At the very least, no battle passes, or maybe take the infinite route and no expiring battle passes, or excessively monetized $30 character skins. Even if it's not financially viable too, I miss old DLC story expansions. Yes, it's probably not going to happen, but the Coalition has the option to create additional campaign content around the most iconic day in the Gears of War franchise. There's tons of comics and books, and imagine playing ROM and E-Day, killing a bunch of COG soldiers. I would spend money on that. That was great. The campaign DLC in Gears of War where you played as a Locust is one of the most underrated DLCs in gaming, in my opinion. I'm a little biased, but hey, they at least have excuses to tell stories from the beginning and monetize it. And I just hope that's something they may think about when it comes to, monetizing the game, because nobody wants a super monetized game with loot boxes, excessive battle passes. Like, we're sick of all that stuff. I just want to complete the campaign on Insane and get like 2 or 3 skins. Not just one 50-year-old Marcus skin they copied over from Gears of War 5, or like the color blue on my Lancer. I want real content that's unlocked from being a good player, whether it be from multiplayer, campaign, getting all the collectibles. You can monetize the game, but also lock some good features behind playing the game. I know it's almost unheard of, but that's just my idea. And of course, please, the number one important thing, if you don't take anything from this video, if anybody from the Coalition is watching, maybe one, just make the game complete on day one. I don't want to have a game where the multiplayer comes out a month before, or the campaign, vice versa, or Horde just is too big to put in the game and I have to wait 3 months for it to come out. That just kills modern games now. Games need to come out complete day one, and I don't even care. Just delay it. I need a game that works to come out and be effective. But that's enough rambling for me. Let me know what you think down below in the comments. Do you agree, disagree, or do you have an idea that I just didn't harp on and you want to share your thoughts? I want to hear it all. I'm very excited for this game, and I'm surprised nobody's leaked it for the past 5 or 6 years, so I just want to play Gears again, man. That's it. Technique out.